Have you ever had that feeling, that slow, creeping sensation that you're just stuck? Well, you are definitely not alone. But what if that feeling wasn't a dead end? What if it was actually a doorway? Today, we're going to dig into the psychology of being stuck and lay out a science-backed roadmap to get you to your next breakthrough. The great psychoanalyst Carl Jung he nailed it, didn't he? It's that quiet unrest, that feeling that you're living out a script somebody else wrote for you. And it can really feel like a personal failing. But the psychology behind it, well, it suggests something else is going on entirely. So I want you to think of it this way. It's not a failure, it's a signal. It's like a silent alarm going off in your nervous system. It's a sign that the identity you've been holding on to just doesn't fit who you're becoming anymore. It's not a breakdown, it's a call to evolve. So what is actually happening in our minds and bodies when we feel so paralyzed? Let's unpack the core conflict that creates this state of friction. Now, this is so important. This isn't laziness. A truly unmotivated person, they just feel kind of numb. But you feel tension. It's a full-on internal battle. One part of you is desperately reaching for change, while another, much older part of your brain is slamming on the brakes, trying to keep you safe in what's familiar.
Okay, let's dive into this. Why does change feel so hard, even when we desperately want it? The answer, it turns out, is in our wiring. Your brain isn't really optimized for your happiness, it's optimized for your survival.
And here's that core conflict, laid right out. You want growth, you want fulfillment. But your brain's primary job is survival, and it gets that through familiarity and predictability. So when you think about making a big change, your brain doesn't see opportunity, it sees danger. That's why it often prefers the familiar pain you already know over the unpredictable uncertainty of something new. And here's another huge factor, learned helplessness. Yeah, after a string of setbacks, your nervous system can literally learn that trying just leads to more pain, so it stops. But here's the key. This is a learned response, which means it can be unlearned. So how do we break free, right? How do we start to work with our brain instead of constantly fighting against it? Let's walk through 6 science-backed steps to rewire your approach and start to rebuild that momentum. All right, step 1, you have got to pause the inner critic. You know the one. When things go wrong, that loud, chaotic voice in your head goes into overdrive. The goal here is to learn how to activate the quiet observer. That's the part of you that just notices what's happening without all the judgment. And look, there's a biological reason for this. Research from self-compassion expert Dr. Kristen Neff shows that beating yourself up is completely counterproductive. It literally floods your system with stress hormones like cortisol, and guess what that does? It kills your motivation. The bottom line is, you simply can't shame yourself into growth. Okay, step 2, let go of the illusion of control. We often feel stuck because we're waiting for the perfect plan, right? We're trying to control every possible outcome. But life rarely works that way. In fact, the real journey often begins right where your perfect plan falls apart. Actually, it's pretty wild. Harvard studies show that people who can accept uncertainty actually experience less anxiety and perform better. You can't control the whole story. The only thing you can ever really control is your next response, your next small step. Step 3 is such a powerful mindset shift. Start reframing failure as data. Researchers who study high performers found that they don't see setbacks as some kind of judgment on their identity. No, they see them purely as information to guide their next move. And this is that reframe in action. The old story says, I failed. The new story says, this is feedback. The old story says, I'm off track. The new story says, no, I'm just off autopilot. Failure isn't the end of the road, it's a course correction. It's the universe telling you, hey, not this way, try another, and giving you the data to make your next attempt that much smarter. All right, step 4 is all about rebuilding momentum using tiny wins. When a big plan collapses, your sense of progress just goes right out the window with it. The secret to rebuilding it isn't some giant leap, it's about organizing all that chaos into one small, deliberate step. There's this incredible Harvard research on what's called the progress principle, and it proves that small, consistent wins are one of the most powerful human motivators there is. Each tiny action you take sends a signal to your brain that your efforts actually matter. And this is how you slowly begin to unwire that learned helplessness. Which brings us to a huge insight. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Motivation isn't some lightning strike that happens to you. It's the result of action. Momentum comes from movement. So you start small, you start shaky, you start imperfectly, you just start moving. Step 5, expect the plot twist, because it's coming. Real consistency isn't about being perfect every single day. That's a total myth. It's about psychological flexibility, your ability to adapt when life inevitably throws you a curveball. Sometimes the plan not working is the plan working because it forces you to find a much better way. And finally, step 6, let curiosity lead you forward. When you're stuck, the first instinct is to ask, okay, what now? What's the fix? But neuroscience shows there's a much more powerful question, and that is, what if? Curiosity activates a deeper part of your brain tied to purpose and resilience. It opens doors instead of demanding a single perfect answer. Okay, so let's bring this all together. You get the psychology now and you have the 6 steps. But none of it matters without turning all that insight into a single initial action. This is your secret weapon, the minimally viable action. It's not relaunch the business. It's brainstorm for 20 minutes. It's not find a new career. It's make one phone call to someone in a field that sounds interesting. It's an action so small, your brain's survival instinct doesn't even register it as a threat. And this is the final and maybe the most important reframe of all. Feeling stuck doesn't mean you failed. It just means you're standing on a threshold. It appears when an old version of your life no longer fits, and a new one is waiting to be born. That messy, confusing space in between, that's where all the real growth begins. You don't need to see the whole path. You don't need a guarantee. You just need one honest step that feels safe enough to take right now. So, my question for you is, what's yours?